Is the background noise too loud?
As soon as it started, and I was going to say something.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, literally
Ah,
right on point. Hello, everyone. This is Gamers at Large, episode 98. It's Andre, the Game Idea Guy, is your host. Um, wow, shut, that was perfect. um, with me, you have the Good Shepherd.
yeah, the guy with the most interesting timing. Uh, yeah, what's up, y'all? It's the Good Shepherd. let's get this podcast on the road.
Alright. And the unofficial Nintendo Ninja, though he won't tell nobody, Shadow Fox Infinite.
Hello, and apparently I'm not an artist. Let's keep going.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
You know I'm gonna have to ask you about that later, right?
It'll be on the Shadowcast probably.
Oh man.
Alright,
Okay.
cool.
I got a couple interesting topics for you guys. Again, I do apologize, but whenever I try to do Q&A, Google for some reason wigs out on me. It'll say I need to verify something, then I click on it, say it's already verified, then I try it again, and I get stuck in the loop. So I want to do Q&As for you guys, but I can't, unfortunately. But when Jay comes back, he'll be able to do them. It just I can't for some reason. I don't know why. Like I
Don't
said,
feel bad. I had the same problem too on one of my podcasts a couple weeks ago. So
for some reason, like I said, Google just don't like me in that manner. They don't want me to do Q&As because I've been wanting to do them, but it just don't like me. But I do have a couple interesting subjects, well, topics. I think you guys might want to. Well, some of us probably want to hear it. I don't know about everybody. I know they're interesting to me, so that's why I'm bringing them up. Uh, the first one, and we did discuss this a slight bit before starting the cast, but do you guys think that gamers are less adaptive than we used to be way back in the day? Like a new game comes out with a whole new gameplay style and it requires us to actually learn the game in order to be good at it. And my thing is I've seen and heard a lot that people aren't adjusting to games. They complain that a game is not the way that they feel it should be, and they don't adjust to how the game is set up. They don't want to learn how to play the game in the way it was made. But
well,
then they complain that they don't want stuff to be the same as it was before, but then when something new comes out, they complain that the new thing isn't like the old thing, and it's a big mess.
I hate to say it, but it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
Because the press is doing the very same thing right now. So there are very few people at that are actually still writing reviews day in and day out that are of our age or our generation that grew up adjusting to games and things like that. So now the the spry young 19-year-old that's writing for insert.com here, they are essentially spoiled. So they want a game to handhold them through a tutorial. They want a game to basically tell them where to go, what to do, how to do it, with a whole bunch of cutscenes and stuff and blood and gore, and then that's what's fun, instead of actually figuring out how the game works. Long ago, there were games, that didn't have a game manual, or the game manual just told you very rudimentary basics about the game, but the core the core of the game engine and things that you needed to do in the engine were yet to be found out as you played. Like I don't think anybody knew that you could run and jump in Super Mario Brothers, and that would exponentially increase your range as well as your height somewhat, if you were running. Now, later on in other Nintendo games, they would tell you, hey, Mario could run and jump a little bit higher if you hold down the good old B button or whatever. But that wasn't necessarily the case in the first game. You just say, hey, Goombas are worth 100 points if you jump on the hill. That's all they kind of really told you. There was no... I don't think there was ever a situation where they would explain to you that if you jump successively on multiple enemies, you would get a 1-up. I don't think that was in any of the original pamphlets either. That was just stuff you found as you played through the first game, and then it
Yep.
showed up in other manuals later. It showed up in Super Mario Bros. 2 manual and Super Mario Bros. 3, and that's just one of those things where it's not that there was a lack of writing that was intentionally left out, so you would figure out some core mechanics of the game that you need to know. So your Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, all that stuff. There's an ism inside of all those games that is nowhere in any tutorial or any manual that you need to learn at some point, and you'll figure it out because the game will put you in a position where you're forced to use it at one point. Then you figure out, hey, this is a critical component of fighting these enemies or doing this certain thing in this game. Maybe I should master this, or whatever. We were talking before this podcast started. We were talking about the active reload for Gears of War. For whatever reason, they marketed that less than the quote unquote stop and pop gameplay that existed in dozens of games before. But the that has never been done before, and that is critical to advancing in that game. So I don't even know. Like, they should have promoted that more if they wanted to do that, and they knew that these quote unquote dude bro gamers would be out here and they wouldn't be able to master the game or be able to play the game in the way that they should, because it's almost, I would say it's necessary to play through on the hardest difficulty of that game. If you don't know how to do active reload, you might as well just die over and over again if you play on the hardest setting. Insane, I think, is the highest difficulty in that game. So yeah, so gamers today and press today, when they run across a game that doesn't describe something like that to them, they will say the controls are unintuitive. They'll say the game is unplayable because they fail at it and they die over and over again and they don't understand why. So now we're in a situation where a game just came out not too long ago, and you got people out here that are they're either giving it no review score and still giving a quote unquote review because they can't finish it because they're inept.
That's a problem to me. Yeah, I understand.
It's a very serious problem.
I understand. Hey, maybe the game isn't for you. Cool, that's fine. If you don't want to give it a score at all, just don't even talk about it.
Or have more than one person on your staff dedicated to Nintendo titles. That's another thing too.
That would be a good thing too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't have to be just Nintendo, because it was a PC game that this happened with not long ago.
Yeah, that's true. So, and I think the same thing is true of mobile games as well. So it's just kind of
This is a horribly messy situation that people just. It creates a problem. One, it shows that you aren't really a learner, and for some reason, I don't. I guess me as a gamer, I've always liked learning things. So for me, something new that is different from what I'm used to is exciting.
A sense of satisfaction, perhaps?
Yeah, once I figure it out, I am so happy with myself that I go through running through the game several times.
And whatever happened to being objective, right? So, like,
Hold
back
on.
in the day,
There is no objectivity, but there is being able to remove your subjectivity from something.
Well, back in the day, I used to read magazines all the time, and you'll read reviews of games with really good scores, and these games with really good scores are licensed games, early childhood games, children's games, mascot games, and things like that. Like all your Disney cartoons, your Nickelodeon, your Sesame Street games, and stuff like that. They were still getting good reviews if they did what they're supposed to do for their target audience. And people reviewed that. They didn't just pick up the game and say, oh, this is a baby game, this is crap, I'm gonna rate it a 3. Like, I don't, that didn't happen back then. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on now, where somebody plays a game that may not necessarily be for them. I could play a mobile game. I could play a mobile game that's designed for my son, and I could still say this is a really well-made game. I'm able to do that.
I could tackle this one a little bit, Shadow. It goes back to everything you stated prior. But I'm going to take it slightly further. We're, in today's society, everybody's ego has gone way out of proportion. So we've become so self-centered, and like subjective on everything, where they feel compelled to, change it to their agenda. And then, of course, you got to factor in money, and then you got to factor in this is the generation, and we're guilty of it too to some extent, where everything's instant. They want instant gratification. They don't care too much about learning skills or taking the time to understand something or explain it. They just want to jump in, jump out, and keep it moving. So a lot of these reviewers, unless it's something that they feel specifically like they really, really want to play, they're just going to halfway play a game however they feel like it because they have to, quote unquote. And then they give a sloppy review and they keep it moving. And quote unquote, and everybody's supposedly happy. They get paid. And then the sheeple, I say sheeple because, people like us would read the reviews and like, wait a minute, this don't sound right. The sheeple go, well, I guess this game is garbage. I'll move on. And that becomes a sad fact. And I'm just talking about gaming. We could take that all across society, honestly.
So
I hope that makes sense.
Well, this is what I want to put a couple of quotes out there. And so this is all based on this latest Starfire Zero review, or lack of a review, from Polygon or whatever, right? So the first thing I put of note, and thanks to Drugon of Google Plus for pointing this out, but he mentioned that Polygon was bankrolled by Microsoft some time ago to create a promotional item at some point. They paid him almost, I want to say, $750,000 to create a documentary. So press reset the story of Polygon is what was supposed to be created. I don't know if it ever was created or not, but yeah, they they basically acknowledged that they received $750,000 from Microsoft. So I don't. That's kind of, that number one. That's good on you for putting that out there and being upfront, saying, hey, that somebody put some money in our hands. But I mean, everything's changed since you accepted that money. And so I got another quote here, right? And this is from a person that wrote an article about that lack of a review or whatever. And I put this out here because this sounds really familiar to me, and I've heard of this firsthand from other accounts. Honestly, the entire system is broken. Publisher hires PR firm who has to suck up to the media, which happens. Media have to suck up to PR firm to be granted code from the publisher, which happens. Media shit all over the publisher's game, which, in the publisher's eye, is the PR folks' fault. So PR suck up even harder, inflating the media's ego. Media realizes this connection and shits harder. PR firm gets reassigned to a new PR firm, and the cycle starts all over again. So basically, it's a
infinite loop of BS.
Exactly. If you have enough leverage, and by leverage I mean clicks per unique clicks or whatever, you have the say. You can basically demand how many review copies you get from a company. You can decide which companies you want to deal with based on how much money or promotional material they send you, and they decide whether they want to deal with you or not, or whether they're forced to be with you based on what type of reviews you give their games. So Activision could be like, fuck IGN, I'm going to start doing a lot of promos on GameSpot site because they gave the last game we did a exceptionally higher review than IGN did, and vice versa. And that endless cycle repeats over and over again. It just blows my mind because I feel like one of the minority that understands that's factual. That actually happens. That happens over and over again. Look at Gerstmann Gate. That's real. He has spoken. He has spoken on personal accounts of things happening in back doors to make things happen. These publishers pay for the ads for these sites, right? Which in turn they get additional ad revenue by making sure they get enough people to go to their site. Those people that go to their site in turn are potential customers for the game that the publisher wants, right? So it's a endless cycle of bullshit where one is going to continually try to see dominance over the other, and it's really bad. It's really bad. It's really bad for anybody that actually has to get business that way. Obviously, we've seen Nintendo do it by other means, and people are gradually trying to follow them. If you notice, a lot less people are participating in E3, and they're starting to do their own events and stuff like that. But I mean, the press has a chokehold on a lot of this stuff right now, and the publishers, in some cases, have chokehold on lower press sites to the point where you got YouTubers out here giving positive reviews for games they never played, just so they can get review copies of other games they want to play. And it's kind of this is where we sit.
That's essentially what Gamergate's all about. I had to bring that up just because.
Yeah, and I put that in a comment too, but apparently other people think it's for, hacking ugly women, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's more about what those people do and what they don't. They don't expose.
These people are grimy.
I mean,
shameless pussies.
Just make a disclaimer. You know what I'm saying? Like I can review a Killer Instinct game and say, disclaimer, I am a huge fan of this franchise. I'm probably going to give a very glowing review for this. Know this going forward. I'm able to do that. So my problem is, why aren't people that get paid to do this able to do it?
The thing is, you have integrity. There's a difference.
I think that's more.
Let's be real.
There's no regulation in game journalism at all, and I think that's part of what the whole Gamergate thing is all about. There's no lawyers knocking on IGN's door saying, "Hey, you know what? You never gave a disclaimer before you gave this review over here, or you never told anybody, hey, you're sleeping with this girl over here that you just gave a positive preview for." That doesn't happen.
And I hate to admit it, and it sucks because by doing so, they're gonna kind of put a cramp on our genre to some extent. Maybe not, but I think we really do need some type of, because right now it's the Wild Wild West, and we got a bunch of rich tycoons taking advantage of it.
And they jump from project to project. If it crashes and burns, they don't care. They go find another one.
Exactly. And so, as someone who usually don't like too many regulations, I have to say, in this case, we need regulations. We need transparency. This is why people are clamoring so much about Gamergate. But the problem is, the people that are clamoring are just peons, crumb side of YouTube and all that jazz. So so what happens is they turn the story around, and a lot of the general public that do know about Gamergate simply know it as us gamers being a bunch of crybabies and bullies.
Yeah, because we apparently are the hackers that those people have created to basically harass themselves and get paid for it. It's like, well, Gamergate did it. Let me create like 9 accounts real quick. You create 9 accounts real quick. Say a whole bunch of racist shit to me real quick. And, oh, hold on. I left my email on this one. Let me take that off real quick. And, and we start seeing craziness like that, and they make sure they put a lot of Gamergate hashtags in there to make sure that it looks like they're affiliated. And I'm like, but anybody could see that the vast majority of posts coming out of that hashtag have nothing to do with that shit. So even if they tried to fake it and make it look like worse than what it was, like anybody with common sense can look and see, hey, the majority of these people are actually talking about this.
See, Shadow, you failed right there. You just said common sense.
Yeah, here we go.
It's highly uncommon. Individuals we've said this many times, individuals are usually intelligent. The problem is everybody's always trying to jump into a group. They want to be part of something. The problem is a lot of these groups aren't exactly the brightest individuals. So what we end up having is a bunch of people following other people that follow other people.
Yep. And they have no idea why or what. They're just moving to the light.
Exactly. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
A very big problem.
All right. I think that one's gone on long enough.
So complaining We need to do something about it, but now's not the time, I guess.
Yeah. So this is usually my type of thing, but I want to ask you guys, what classic series would you like to bring back, and how would you like it to be done?
I'm gonna have to think on that one.
What about you, Shep?
I got mixed feelings. See, everybody knows I'm a huge RPG nut, so they'd assume like I'd say Breath of Fire. So I'm gonna leave Breath of Fire alone this time. And then they also know I'll absolutely love Contra, so I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Double Dragon had a revival. I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's go with Final Fight.
Okay.
Because I miss the beat 'em up genre. We don't have too much of that these days.
Yeah, there used to be a bunch of them back in the day, Bayou Billy and all that, and POW and all that other kind of stuff.
So, yeah, exactly. Pow, that was a shit. I loved that game so much. I used to waste so much money at the arcades. I'd beat the game, then play it again.
Yep.
Anyways, so yeah, let's do a revive. We don't even need to be Final Fight. Let's just create a beat 'em up. Let's do a revival of the beat 'em up. Let's 3D or 2.5D or however you want to do it.
I'm to the point where just the third person action game in general needs to come back. Your Legacy of Kain, your Blood Rain, and all those kind of games.
And Resident Evil when it was good.
Yeah, Resident Evil, Gun Valkyrie, just any of those games. Ninja Gaiden is that's the only one that's actually current right now. And Bayonetta is around, but it's literally a dying genre. There's not enough going around to keep interest in that field. And I think those games, I would say they're easier to make than FPS that's geared towards online multiplayer and keeping all these stats and all this other kind of crazy shit. And open world RPGs that have millions of hours and hundreds of millions of dollars thrown into them. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto. Like all that kind of stuff costs a lot of money, and there's no guarantee you're getting anything back. If you create a B-rated beat 'em up that just has a lot of charm, and you could tell that the people that created it liked what they were doing, you'll probably end up doing well. But the B-rated, the B-team developer doesn't really exist anymore, nor does the publisher. So Activision used to be a B-team publisher, and now they're, at one point in time they were AAA back in the old Atari days, and then they disappeared for about 10 years, came back as a B-rated publisher, and now they're AAA again with this Call of Duty stuff. So I don't know. It's just kind of I'm just thinking in general the third person action game needs to come back. Whether it's somebody figures out how to do Castlevania or something, like somebody's got to figure something out.
Agreed. We so need a truly good all-around action game.
Yeah, I want to say
they run around and just beat you up with their fists, or they use weapons or whatever.
Yeah, the closest thing to it right now is Ratchet and Clank, but that's still technically classified as a platformer. So just a action game. Just shoot, kill everything, fight everything. There's a little bit of story involved, and you go on to the next level and kill more people. Like that just should be. There should be more of that.
Basically, more Bayonettas.
Yes. More Bayonettas, and more bullet hell shooters too. But that's another story.
Yes. And I mean, come on, especially with the Wii U, but we could use it anything. We need more, like House of the Dead type games.
Yes.
I haven't had. It can even keep it on rails. Just have it more frantic and fast paced.
What was the last light gun game like that? Was it Time Crisis 4? Which one was it?
I don't know off the top of my head. Umbrella Chronicles came out before Time Crisis 4, I think.
Didn't they port Umbrella Chronicles to the arcade at some point? I think they did.
I don't know.
I want to say they did at some point. I'm gonna have to look and see, but I think they did one of those games. One of those Resident Evil games ended up being a light gun game. I just have to. I don't know. I might have to look it up and see. Um, yeah, It made a couple arcade machines. It was the Survivor games. So the Survivor games that came out on PS2, they ended up being ported to arcades at some point, unless it was the other way around. I'm not really sure.
And we need more fighting games besides Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat,
Yeah, we need more of those too.
like the Soul Calibers and Samurai Shodown, Blaze Blues, all that good stuff.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And come on, beautiful Joe, where you at?
Yeah.
Switching topics, sorry.
Yeah, I talked about that the last, what was it? It was probably 2 podcasts ago. We talked about Beautiful Joe. And that was when I've never beat that game. I still haven't beaten it yet.
I need to get my hands on the game so I could play it. I only played it briefly back in the day. I really liked it, but I never owned it.
Yeah, I'm about to get
Which
on.
reminds me, I guess I'll play some Wonderful 101. This is not the Beautiful Joe, but at least it gives me a small taste of good old school. Watch my language. You know what I was about to say.
I wonder if Beautiful Joe was in that game. I know Bayonetta was. I'm not certain if, but there's a beautiful combo you could do, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to really take my time and sit down and play that game again. And I need to hurry up and give away my games too. You know, I still got my extra copy of Bayonetta 2 and 1 and 2 and Wonderful 101 that I was supposed to do a giveaway God knows how long ago.
Yeah. Oh man.
I might just pick somebody randomly at this point and just send it to them.
Well, apparently somebody found a way to do this, but there's a whole bunch of Beautiful Joe references in Wonderful 101, and somebody cataloged them all. So somebody made a wiki. It's the Wonderful 101 wikia.com, and all the connections to Beautiful Joe are listed here. So there's a lot of different things in there where they make references to, the whole film thing, cut, all that kind of stuff is there. Some of the shark submarines that were one of the bosses from Beautiful Joe, just all kinds of things are in there. So yeah.
Sounds really wonderful.
Yeah, very wonderful, very beautiful.
I love good old beauty. But anyways, cheesy puns aside.
Yeah. I would. What do you say? We talk about NX rumors. Oh my God.
Yes,
so
NX
awesome.
rumors. That will get us an extra like 2,000 clicks.
So Nintendo NX is a supposed project that Nintendo's working on. That's all I really know.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be a software patch, and it's gonna cause everybody to rage. It'll be, that'd have been the perfect April Fool's joke if Nintendo said, "Okay, we'll tell you about the NX," and it'd be like it's an OS update or something.
Yeah,
and you just see all the rage. This sucks. I would have been really hyped for the NX. I really would be, because it's a new console or whatever. But all these rumors killing the joy for this, man, for real.
Yeah, you know how that goes. Because everybody's click whoring right now. They're just like, if I talk about NX, people are gonna click, and it's true, because I don't think there's one NX video out there that I've seen that's under 500 views right now. Like if you just say, hey, this is my NX video, and all of a sudden, boom, there you go, you get $500,000 right there.
Well, in their pitiful defense, like before I joined the gamers at large, I was kind of one of those gamers that just I went about my life, and every now and again when I hear something interesting, I just hopped on YouTube and searched. So, you hear, there's a new system coming out, NX. So I'll start clicking on every video that says NX on it to see what's going on. What bugs me out is that we've already said this a gajillion times, but I have to get off my chest since you opened up the damn Pandora's box. I have no problem if people are like giving speculation on NX. No problem. I'm totally with that. It's whatever. You would like it to be this way, blah, blah, blah. But all these quote-unquote credible sources and all these rumors, that's when I'm like, all right, All right. No.
That's the thing. Nobody's really giving their own speculation. They're saying there's some leak or some rumor or based on this
Yeah.
pattern, somebody said this, and I'm like, nobody's giving their own speculation. Not saying, well, this could happen and this could happen, or if Nintendo does this and this can happen. Nobody's actually giving true speculation.
It's
So
essentially gossip. That's all this is. Is gossip, and it's everywhere.
I think it's because of lack of education and the fact that a lot of these people don't know what they're talking about, so they have no idea of where to go with, hey, this new piece of hardware came out and it could potentially be in this game console. How would that come about? How would that work? Or, they're planning on doing this new idea. How would this multiple display technology work in the game? Or what are the pixel requirements to make that happen? Just things like that. How much fill rate does the system need to make sure this is possible and playable? On a consistent basis. That's just one of those things where there was a time back when when I would say before the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 came out, when you could start to make those connections based on information that was valid. So people came up with valid information and say, hey, this is based on an IBM processor that, some of the development kits are based on this type of IBM processor. So therefore, we can deduce these types of things. And they start talking about, different types of CPU calls and different things that can happen versus what was happening before on the older processors or whatever. So that stuff was a little bit more valid. There weren't 50 million leaks saying, oh my god, the Xbox 2 is going to have 5 gajillion gigs of RAM or some craziness like that. It was just like, no, it's just going to be stronger. I don't think we knew that the Xbox 360 was going to be HD until it was announced in 2005. I don't think the move to HD, well, pseudo HD for that generation, but I don't think anybody branded HD until the bald head dude, I can't think of his name right now, sat on stage and started talking about it. Because before then, we were thinking all these games are just going to look even better in 480p because it had been 480p for 3-4 generations. So I don't know. None of that kind of stuff really gets talked about the way it needs to anymore. It's more like, oh, this person said this, so therefore these games are gonna run like this, and 60 FPS and 1080p and 4K 30 FPS, and like you have no idea how any of that's gonna happen. You don't even know what the requirements are for 1080p 60 frames per second. You don't know. So like throwing those buzzwords out because you heard a couple of things that sound okay to you based on other buzzwords you hear from people building off-the-shelf PCs does not mean that you're able to put those two things together. They're not the same.
This is the internet. You could easily turn one thing into another thing if you sound important enough.
Yeah, I guess so. Especially to the point where people
I could show you 8 channels and I won't call their names that do that nonsense all the time.
Okay.
I know how to program a web browser, so therefore I know everything about gaming. No, idiot. You just know how to program a web browser. That's it.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry I rolled out. I had a little bit of a parental emergency I had to handle.
That is at large. It's okay.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. You're preaching to the choir.
But like I saw something happen and I kind of freaked out, so I just hopped up really quickly and I forgot to say what I was doing. So, yeah.
Bro, that takes a higher priority than us talking about gaming.
Yeah, but I'm hosting. I don't want to be rude to everybody. That's my problem.
It's okay. In normal fashion, I hijacked the podcast and started talking.
I heard.
There you go. It was going good, so I let him shoot.
See, I was listening. It's not like I just completely blacked everything out, but it took a little bit of it was immediate. Otherwise, somebody might have lost like a finger or an eye or something. So yeah.
Well, that's not me really throwing shade at a lot of these guys, because a couple of these guys I don't have any problems with them. You know, I don't really have any problems with any of these people because I really don't care that much. But at the same point in time, like I don't think that anything these guys are doing is necessarily wrong per se, but I think it's going to get a lot of gamers on the wrong page if they continually listen to half of the stuff that they're saying, because they're uneducated themselves, and everybody that follows them is like the blind leading the blind, and
Exactly.
it's gonna lead to disappointment, just like with Wii U. Like people were thinking Wii U was just gonna like do your laundry and shit, and when it came out, like, you know, hey, this is a cool viewport, and I could do this kind of stuff, kind of like how VR is right now with two separate displays. But everybody shitted on it because it wasn't a PS4. So, which was weird to me because I remember the E3 that the PS4 was announced. Everybody was scrambling to have a second screen application because nobody knew what Nintendo was going to do. So, if even Sony and Microsoft didn't know what was going to take off, I just don't understand how people were really harping on that, because apparently they were behind what Nintendo was doing. They're like, oh, well, we're not on that, but we're going to try and make sure we have something just in case. So, which leads me to now, because there's apparently an additional PlayStation in the works, which, for those of you that don't understand, forgive this for being a Shadowcast, but a new PlayStation basically means Sony ain't stupid, because the PlayStation 4 is what, it came out in 2013, so it's going on 3 years old, right? There's no way they can start another generation that quick. Nintendo, on the other hand, is used to doing 4 to 6 years in a console generation as it is anyway. So they're moving on to ninth generation as soon as possible, whether it's this year or next year. And that could potentially leave them on the market with a ninth generation piece of hardware for anywhere between 2 to 3 years. And that would probably, I don't think Sony
Huge
or Microsoft want
disadvantage.
that to happen. Yeah, I don't think Sony or Microsoft want that to happen. So they're going to put something out there, whether it's,
Here's the danger though. This is sounding very 32X-ish. So if they do this, they need to come up with some type of program to appease their customers. Like maybe if they turn in their current PS4 deal, they don't have to pay like an additional $100 to get the new system.
They
Because
wouldn't take
otherwise,
that
you're
big of
gonna
a
get a
hit.
lot of pissed off people.
They wouldn't take that big of a hit. That's too deep. But they would
Well,
probably,
you know what I mean. But they need to come up with some type of program because there's gonna be a lot of pissed people.
yeah, obviously. But what they would probably do is, hey, turn in your old system. We'll dock 100 off the price of the new one. They're not gonna give it to you for 100, but they'll take 100 off.
Well, you know what I mean. I was just saying something on the fly.
I know, but
you,
just in case somebody who doesn't understand the logistics.
Oh God, you're right.
little
They
bit.
might take me literally, and then I got you. Good point.
Yeah.
well, on the logistics side of things, it's not going to be too different for Sony, because they're using the same parts, they're just overclocking them. So in essence, you're basically getting a PS4 probably with a bigger fan, and it's gonna be running.
Hopefully with a power source outside of its body.
Hopefully, so it doesn't generate a crap load of heat. So, that's going to probably end up happening, because basically they're just going to overclock the GPU and CPU frequencies, and obviously it's going to play older games and stuff like that, or current generation games. So on the supply side, it shouldn't be too difficult for them. But on the marketing side, that's going to be the biggest, because how do you explain what this is? It's not like new Nintendo 3DS, where they just say it's a new Nintendo 3DS. Like that's easy to say. It sounds crazy, but it's easy to say.
You're not alone.
Oh man, that is.
I'm
about
just moving around a lot, and the occasional background noise get out of control, so I gotta mute a lot, like I said earlier.
We're all pappies. It's okay.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you how much I hate Barney? Anyways, back on topic.
Oh man, back in the day it used to be okay. Then they put a orange rhino in there, and it kind of made everything weird. But yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, I don't even know what else. Oh yeah, PS4 in its newest iteration for the 4K users.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a dangerous gamble. I mean, I get why they're doing it. It's for the same reason the systems came out early. They're trying to not let Nintendo get the advantage.
Exactly, and I don't even.
Which is smart and stupid in and of itself.
Yeah, I think the PlayStation 4K is probably what the PS4 should have been to begin with. But they didn't have that extra year because they had to put out, hardware. If Microsoft was dropping theirs down, and Nintendo already had theirs out for a year. And now that the generation started, and 3 years later, Nintendo's coming out with more hardware again, and you're hearing about it or whatever. So, and developers are hopping on board. They got to do something to say, you know what? No, don't leave us. Come, stay with us. You can keep your existing code and be lazy as fuck and make money. Stay here.
Only thing I think though that might cause is more glitches with games because they won't be tested.
But what also concerns me is Sony itself is still struggling financially. So even though I know they're trying to do this to save themselves, this could put them in a much more dire straits. This reeks of Sega right now.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, didn't the PlayStation 4 just become profitable anyway?
I think it.
Yeah, exactly. I think last year.
I think it was profitable last year, but they don't sell a whole lot of software that's exclusive, so they don't make a whole lot of money on that side, which is where they should make money.
Exactly, and by doing this, they're going to go back into the negative unless they're selling enough consoles.
Yeah.
Which you should, honestly, is probably not the best idea to bank on the consoles selling very well, but to make good software and bank on that selling well.
Yeah,
exactly. They're doing a Sega. What they need to focus on is really get back to exclusives. If they could crank out enough decent exclusives, they could make at least a decent profit. They could push back this 4.5 version for another year. But if they're clocking out enough games and push the hardware decently, they could kind of fake the funk for another year, you know what I mean? And they could survive. Because if they do it this way, it could hurt them. And honestly, I want Sony in the game. I do not want any company to have a monopoly. As much as I favor Nintendo, Nintendo is not all the games I want. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
we need at least 2 to 3 competitors to keep the market fresh.
Yes. But I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't even say Sony's pulling a Sega. Because at least Sega did actually have a lot of exclusive content.
Yeah, they went out
exclusive stuff.
They went out with a bang with the Saturn and with the Dreamcast.
They put so much exclusive stuff out. I think they had outdone what Nintendo's doing currently.
They did. With the Dreamcast, they definitely did. I think they had a different. I think they had 2 titles a month, pretty much. On
they
Dreamcast.
had so many unique games and.
Dreamcast is the favorite system I never had.
Man,
it sounds weird, but it's true. I'm still gonna get that for myself.
You need to go on eBay and get you one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it as a birthday present to myself.
You won't be disappointed, man. You won't.
Nah, you won't.
I played plenty of the games. My friends had the system. I just didn't. I was too poor back then.
It's all right. It's okay. Do it now. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will. I already got an Amazon wish list with a bunch of games. Sadly, a lot of those games I ain't gonna get because, oh my god, the prices.
Yeah, especially. But
I already talked to T about that. He can help me with that, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Can't talk about that.
So what do y'all think? What do y'all think Nintendo needs to do in this situation, or what do you think Sony needs to do in their situation? Because it seems like both of them they're in a critical crossroads right now at this point, where Sony can't afford to make any mistake, and Nintendo is like, it's in their best interest to leverage any advantage they have right now, because at this point they have these guys with their draws down because they're in the middle of a generation.
The problem with Nintendo is that they could they're potentially cannibalizing itself without even realizing it simply by mentioning the NX. They get a lot of attention and quote unquote popularity and notoriety or whatever. I can't say it properly right now. That's not the word.
Are you looking for mind share?
We'll go with mind share, but I was gonna say something else. Yeah, we'll go with that. So the mind share is way up, but the problem is by doing it the way they're doing it, a lot of people who are thinking about getting the Wii U are now be like, well, I'll just wait for the next system.
But here's the thing I got.
It's understandable, but that hurts Nintendo.
Here's the thing I got to say about that.
Though. If you ain't got it by now, it came out in 2012. If you ain't got it by now, you're
not gonna get it.
That's just being
real. I mean,
unless it has.
You're right and you're wrong, but you have to keep in mind they're gamers that are like how I used to be. I've been gaming forever, but I kind of drifted away from the industry, but I still kept up to some extent. I got my PS3 way late in the game.
Shit, I got mine just last year. So
here's the other thing too. When you got that PS3, how much was it when you got it?
300, I think.
Okay,
that's way cheaper than what it was when it launched.
Yeah, that's half the price of what it was at launch. Whereas the Wii U, I think it's still just $50 than what
cheaper than
it was when it launched. So they haven't dropped the price for nothing, and I don't know what's going on with that, but I know a lot more people got GameCubes towards the end of that generation because they cut the price to $99. Then they cut the price to $99 and threw 2 games in the box. So like they went from 15 million to 24 million in a year.
And that's probably what's going to happen with the Wii U. When the next system come out, whatever it will be, they'll drop the price by a good 100, create a few bundles, and the Wii U is going to fly off the shelf to some extent.
I can only hope so, because right now it's like nobody. I'll put it this way: people the collectors are snatching them up. Anytime I see a Wii U bundle in a store, it's normally not there long, usually. And I see Xboxes all the time for whatever reason. But I never see PS4s on shelves, and I never really see a Wii U on shelf unless it's that.
The desperation and push for these other 2 systems to go out makes me curious. But I'll leave that alone.
There's
in regards to Sony, go ahead. You're still on Nintendo?
No, go ahead. Okay. There's just one thing I want to say, and I'm pretty sure I pointed this out in the video I did. People want Nintendo to go with the x86 architecture, like they're begging for them to do this. If they do that, why do they expect backwards compatibility? Because that's the reason people aren't picking up Wii U's, because they're expecting backwards compatibility, but they want x86 architecture. Now, if Nintendo did this, they could not have backwards compatibility out of the box, and on top of that, for it to be done, you'd have to buy a peripheral like the gamepad, which would put backwards compatibility behind a paywall, which would piss people off.
Yep.
That's what they don't want them to do, but they want them to do it. This is why I'm saying people, it's contradictory. Like, you can't want them to go one way and then want them to go the other way at the same time. It's just not possible.
Gamers don't know what they want. It's like that skit for the E3 where they showed the little boy. There's like they made him in charge of the company for a moment, and he didn't even know what to come up with. That's what a lot of gamers are these days. I want it this way. Wait, no, I don't know. I want it this way. No, wait, I don't know.
This is what the majority.
I think that was genius skit, by the way. That was an awesome skit.
Yes, it was freaking genius.
This is what the majority of gamers want Nintendo to be. This is who they want Nintendo to be. They want Nintendo to be Naruto. They want them to do a shadow clone jutsu and do 2 different things at the exact same time.
And that's not happening.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was.
It doesn't make business sense.
They were doing it on the 3DS and Wii U at the same time, and the Wii and the DS at the same time, and the Game Boy and the GameCube at the same time. So, in a matter of speaking.
But the architecture didn't change much with certain things, and then
it was essentially a build up from before, which is why
it did change. They included the old hardware in the new device.
Yep.
Until they got to a point where they needed to remove it.
Yep. Just like the PS2.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. People can't expect that to happen. In fact, the PS2 and the PS3, when you think about it.
Yeah,
no. He did have the PS2 chip in it for the first half of its
Yeah,
lifetime.
the 60 gig
Right.
PS3s. Yeah.
Yep,
The
and I play
60
some of
and
my
then the 80.
PlayStation games on my PS3, the original PlayStation games.
Oh, you can still play those on it, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
just not the
no,
yeah,
not
PlayStation.
all of them though. Some don't work, but yeah.
Yeah, as long as I can play Grandia or Xenogears, I'm good. Nah, I have issue with as far as them going forward. Like, if they go, here's my guess. Right, I think if they go x86, it's literally going to be x86 in the bottom. I think that it's literally going to be a wrapper for dumbass developers to use if they want to use it. And I really think Nintendo's still going to stay with Power. I really do. They're going to do that, and everything stepping up from the last CPU they used supports x86 anyway. It's just a conversion tool that that they interface with in an integrated development environment. So essentially, those developers say, "Hey, let's shoehorn our game on here, and things will work." And I don't know if you guys remember the comments from Satoru Iwata, maybe a couple years ago. It was like maybe about a year or two after the Wii U came out, where they said Wii U is not a system where people can force games to work on them. You have to develop for that hardware. Like he specifically said that, and I don't know why people kept coming up with excuses after that. Like, it is what it is. He said that's what it is. They make consoles just like they've been making consoles. So why, as a developer, if you are a software developer and you're supposed to be talented, you're expecting us to do the work for you? Like, I didn't understand that at all. But here we sit where the people, or the loud majority of the people that
But that goes
like
in.
games, well, the people that like
But that
games, they're listening to the excuses that the publishers are making for these developers, instead of the developers owning up and say, yeah, our team was only 10 people, and yeah, we didn't really know the hardware like that anyway. That's never going to come out. I mean, it comes out after the fact, but it never comes out in the middle of why that game is coming out. Or
and a side note that people don't really bother to read,
yeah,
mind you.
it's one of those things. I don't, and that's just reality. But people say, no, it's just an excuse. Weak you. Oh my God! And I'm like,
okay. How
and
many
then
of these people?
let's watch the game you were talking about get ported to the iPhone 2 weeks later.
How many of these games that people? How many of these people don't want a Wii U but went out and bought a 3DS?
Exactly.
Have at least one version of the 3DS, whether it be the 2DS, the old 3DS, or the new 3DS. You have one of them. You have at
But
least one of them.
but the 3DS is weak, so why would people buy that?
3DS, if the, like, and I broke that logic down before too. If the Wii U is weak, then you wouldn't want the 3DS. It's not about the hardware's capability or power.
Them games though.
It's about the games that appeal to you. And if third-party developers aren't putting their games on their console and you want those games, then I can see why you wouldn't pick up the Wii U. I'd understand exactly why you wouldn't want to pick it up. But don't
believe
tout
that either.
hardware power.
I can't even
That's
believe
another
that
thing.
either.
Nintendo needs to. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't even believe that either, because for 14 months that console was exactly like the other hardware. It had all the same games.
For a
For
while.
about a year and some change. Like, it had all the same games. So there were no excuses. The people that said they wanted that, they ignored that console and they didn't buy those games. So guess what? They're not there anymore. And now you're using that as an excuse to further not buy the console.
Well, I mean, hey, one way or another, Nintendo. If people don't want Nintendo, they don't want Nintendo. Like, I don't see why they have to make an excuse as to why they don't want it.
That's what bugs me out. If you don't want Nintendo, just say I don't want
I
Nintendo.
don't want it. Like, that's just like me right now. I don't want a PS4, and I will not get a PS4 for a
How
while
dare
because-
you? PS4 is full of greatness. No, wait, we gotta wait for that. Okay, sorry, continue.
If that greatness is only like 2 exclusives, I'll wait.
Now,
Well, Star Ocean 5's coming out soon.
that would be awesome though if like they do a bundle with the PS4K and Uncharted 4, and it says greatness has finally arrived. That'd be awesome. I mean,
Then I'd be like,
if
okay,
they say
where's the
that-
program for me to trade in my current PS4? Or no, I
But if
got a
they
collector's
say that,
edition. Damn it.
if they say that now, though, then that would be saying that all the other stuff that they put out, that those third parties put out, wasn't greatness.
I think we all know that though. At this point,
Pretty
I'm
much.
just saying, like, if they say that, that's literally taking a shot at the people that are keeping their business afloat at the moment.
well, yeah, I would say Sony and Microsoft because I think by far they make the most money off of their online store and at this point licensing fees because they're not
Yep.
making it off their own content. They're not making it off pure profit off software.
Yeah, indies and all this other stuff.
But the thing is, Microsoft didn't hook themselves with greatness awaits.
Yeah, yeah,
Sony did.
yeah. Microsoft at least they attempted to go their own route, but Sony like they had nothing. There was nothing. That console wasn't ready.
No, it wasn't. That's
They
the
both
only
weren't,
thing.
but yeah.
That's the thing I fear with Nintendo putting out theirs this year, if it happens, that they're not ready for it. And
Microsoft came up with games first though. They
Yeah.
can't whether they bought them or they had them in their pipeline. They had games ready first.
yeah, they did. But if Nintendo did that, you know that they're not going to spend a whole lot of money on stuff unless somebody's exclusively making it for them.
Which
So
makes sense.
that's likely not going to happen. And if they do come out early and they don't have stuff ready, we're going to end up seeing the same situation as what the PS4 had. A bunch of remasters. It might start with 4 of them, but then it'll go beyond that and quickly.
Yeah. So
And
apparently
I'm
the
not
NX
for
is
that.
supposed to have them too. So what do you think about that? If that's the latest educated source, that NX is going to have a bunch of remasters.
From what I've heard, it's only 4, and I think that's like Smash, Splatoon. I don't remember what the other 2 were. But
I think Smash would be a no-brainer though.
Smash would be a
If they're gonna-
no-brainer. If they were going to do Smash, they'd have to make it a complete edition.
Yeah.
No additional DLC purchases. Make it a complete edition with everything in the game. Just make the characters you had to purchase, make them unlockable the same way as the other characters, where you have to actually play and earn them in.
I will
Then
honestly
it would
say.
probably be Zelda.
I would honestly say at that point, don't do nothing to the game. Don't upgrade the graphics at all. Make it
No,
the
just put
same
just play
game.
it.
And yeah, because you don't want that game to be different for any reason. It should be the same across the board, so there are no issues with people playing with each other. Like you playing online or whatever, there should be no issues. It should be the exact same title.
Yeah, just let it, and let them both work back and forth with each other. With the Wii U one work with the NX one, so people on both platforms can play against each other.
Makes sense to
And
me.
the 3DS. Yep.
3DS ain't gonna happen, you know that.
I know. I'm being.
That was
Take it too
Nintendo's
seriously
goal.
sometimes.
That was Nintendo's goal, but apparently they couldn't do it. So
I would have liked Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8 to talk. That would have been good.
I would combine both of them into one game. Just
Well,
make
Mario
them
Kart
one
9.
game. Yep.
A Mario
not
Kart
even-
collection
not even
kind of
make it-
thing.
No, not a collection, but like just combine them together as one game and have all of those various versions of the tracks selectable.
I mean, PC
Mario
games. do it
Kart
all the
8
time.
Plus.
Basically.
People with weaker, gaming rigs or whatever, they're able to play with people with, faster PCs or whatever. So it shouldn't be the specs shouldn't matter at all. It should just be the data on that server being updated. So, it can be done. It can be
We
done.
talking about Smash or Mario Kart?
Mario Kart.
Okay. So no, that wouldn't be a problem with me. But I'm just saying, if they were to do it, I would combine 7 and 8, all the tracks into one game, and just make it like this massive set of tracks and drop them on everybody.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Like that would be what I would do. Like I'm not Nintendo though, so I can't.
Mario Kart Master Collection.
That'd be a good name for it.
No,
Master
it
And
Tour or
add in the
something like
battle
that.
mode, the real battle mode with the battle arena.
That ain't gonna happen right now.
I
Master
know. I just have to say it. Leave me alone.
I want it.
I'm
Master
wounded.
Collection is bad because that will remind you of the Master Chief Collection, and that didn't work at launch. So you want a name that's gonna be like we work at launch. So I don't know.
But I mean, everybody knows Master Chief is Master Chief from Halo, and that's a little different.
I hope so.
Cartography? Mario Cartography? No.
No, see that now that's definitely a Halo rip right there. But I mean, if you wanted to do it, Mario Kart Master 8 Edition or something like that. I don't know.
Mario Kart Ultra Circuit, since they
Ultimate.
already have Super
Let's
Circuit.
say Ultimate Edition or Super Series.
Yeah.
Or do that, or just port the arcade games, put all of those tracks into one game,
Oh,
and drop it on the
man.
home console.
Oh yes.
Those games are good too. God, man, listen, those tracks are
I want
addictive.
them to bring back the flower. I mean, not the flower, the
Jump.
feather. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, the feather would be cool.
I don't know. Like that's as far as I'm concerned, that would be a good move to make. Just slap all these tracks together and just put them in the game. Like just edit them just enough so that they work within this one engine, but put them all in there.
Ooh, Mario Kart Mayhem. Think
That would
about it.
work.
You got everything in there. Why? Why not?
That would work. All
That's
the carts, all the tracks, all of the
Yes.
characters.
All the power ups.
Yeah, just
The game would
one
be
massive-
essentially broken.
There's a way it could be done without it being completely broken.
Rob the
Oh yeah.
snaking.
There's gonna be some stuff that's gonna happen, but I mean, I'm just saying, make one engine for these, but then put all of the tracks in it. Like, keep the engine consistent. We're not gonna be hopping different Mario Kart engines.
Use the Mario Kart 8 engine, but recreate the tracks to match Mario Kart 8.
And that's something that would take them some time. So if they were doing it, they would have to be working on that like right now.
Yeah.
They probably already were, but they were probably doing it for Mario Kart 9.
Yeah. Hopefully they go back to naming them special, because 7 and 8 just the names, good games, but the names boring.
I was really thinking they were going to change that name before it launched and name it Mario Kart Infinite. I really thought they were.
I would have liked that.
I was hoping for that so badly.
Yeah.
You know
I really
me and my obsession with 8 and Infinity. Plus, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense all the way around for that.
It would have made a lot of sense. But,
Especially with all the upside down and all that stuff they're doing on that game. It seemed cool.
all right. Okay, fellas, I think now is probably a good time to call it a night. So, like, I do want to say I
Right.
apologize to the viewers and listeners. I kind of had to check out for an emergency.
It's his fault. You're a bastard.
Whatever.
Daddy's at large. It's okay.
I'd rather check out for a little while and come back than to sit and ignore my kids and have something bad happen and then feel bad about it later. So, see,
You're a gamer, though, so you're supposed to be a horrible father, right? No?
oh yeah, like all those stereotypes that are completely incorrect about gamers.
Look,
Pretty
man,
much.
crayons have the most amount of nutrients in them. I'm telling you. It's okay. I was raised this way. It's okay. I turned out just fine. It's all right.
And you know what? You could always have the occasional Play-Doh, because you need that. You need that sodium in you,
Oh, man,
amongst other things.
Yeah, I ain't right. We'll do sign outs. So, Shadow Fox, got anything you want to pimp out for us?
No, that thing I said I was going to do a long time ago, it's eventually coming. Deal with it, or don't be a subscriber, one of the two. And you'll come back eventually anyway. So, anyways, yeah, do you play games to have fun or impress other people? I tend to not impress other people, so I guess I play games to have fun.
All right, Shep, anything you want to pimp for us?
No, I mean, I won't disclose to everybody, but you guys already know. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes for the last 2 months and some, so. But we should come to a conclusion with that next week. So after next week, I should be back into some type of video production on my channel. Because you guys already know what's going on with me. So
Yes, we do.
life has been hectic.
You won't be sober. You won't be sober.
Oh, man. It's going to be fun, though, kind of.
Yes, it
Too
will.
bad you bastards won't be there.
It's my
I'm
fault.
sorry. Look, if my van hadn't been rear-ended by an idiot that drove off, and I didn't have to replace it, I could do it.
Hey, it happens. Cars happen. Work
Yeah,
happens.
but like when you get your van rear-ended and your kids are in it, and the guy that did it drove off, you want to strangle him until his eyes pop out of his socket.
I got you beat. Somebody reversed into me.
Ooh. Really?
They missed their turn and panicked and reversed. but I got blamed because I was at a stop sign.
which is ridiculous when you're stopped. Luckily, the insurance understood for us, and that was taken care of. But that's a personal gripe. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up in here, but I just kind of, thinking about that, I kind of had to vent.
Drivers at large.
Life happens.
Yep.
Life happens at the worst time sometimes.
All right, now let's wrap it up. We're online.
All right.
I mean, we're live still, so.
All right. Well, me, Game Ideas will work on the Wii U 100th episode this week. For that, 100th video for that this week. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, though.
Where's that on the porch?
What?
Sorry.
I heard porch. I was like, what? Okay. And Why You Know Game, every Saturday I still got episodes that are currently sitting on YouTube that are just waiting to release, so those will be there. You ain't even got to worry about that. And then I'm working on some other stuff, like my comic that I'm going to be working on using Meetamo to make the pictures. There's a video on my channel for that I put an example of what I'm trying to do up. It's not the best video, but I kind of did it in a rush, so it took me about, say what, like 2 hours total time, close to get that done, and it's only like a couple minutes, but it was well worth it. It was fun to do. So, but yeah, that's really it for me. So thank you guys very much for listening in. We'll be back next week, hopefully with more interesting stuff, and hopefully I won't have to check out for an emergency, because that really just. And we're 2 episodes away from 100 for Gamers at Large, so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Party time.
We ain't going to do Drunkers at Large. I promise you, people, we won't do that.
I don't think we might have an episode next week, though, due to extreme circumstances, but I don't know. We'll see.
Might not have one next week, but if we don't, we don't. It's okay, but we're still working. There's a lot of stuff going on. Life happens, like was said. But other than that, everybody, you guys enjoy your games, and we are rolling out.